Let's talk about Harry Potter. Alright, do you guys want to talk about Harry Potter? Because I'm definitely in the mood. Okay, if you haven't read all the books, stop here, go read them, and then come back because this video is going to be filled with spoilers. Okay, obviously this video, from that you could probably tell that it's over 20 minutes long, and I know that's really long and you're probably like, I don't have time to watch this, but if you like Harry Potter, then I promise you'll like this. At least I really hope, because all I talk about is Harry Potter and it's basically just me rambling on about it the entire time. And I talk about theories and facts at the end. So yeah, please stay tuned and keep watching. Last night, I got this idea to do a Harry Potter related video where I would talk about theories, or I guess these are theories, ideas, topics that I love discussing with my friends about Harry Potter. And if you're wondering why I'm looking down there, it's because this is a fuzz, and I was wondering if it's a bug. It's a fuzz. Anyways, so I wrote some down. I went around asking like 5 of my friends what's their favorite theory, idea, topic of discussion to talk about Harry Potter, because my friends and I discuss it all the time. And so I thought that that would be fun to discuss it with you guys, and that you can leave comments below and we can have discussions about it, and we can all say what we think about these topics that I'm going to be talking about, and it'll be fun. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, as always, I wrote them on my handy dandy iPhone, and I'm gonna just read it off and then because what I wrote is just little bullet points about the topics that I want to talk about, and then we'll have a discussion to a camera, but hopefully you guys will leave comments down below. Like, if you're watching this, I think that that would be really fun. So, the first one is Hagrid being more fatherly, let me reword that. Hagrid being a more fatherly figure than Sirius was to Harry. And my friends and I talk about this all the time. My best friend Haley, who I did a video with, it was the Harry Potter tag, I'll link that down below. And I discuss this constantly because we think it's so, or I think it's so interesting that people do really believe that Hagrid was more a fatherly figure than Sirius was to Harry. And so let's talk about my views on it. So I honestly, let me just start off by saying I love Sirius, but look at the evidence. Hagrid was there. Obviously, Sirius couldn't have been. But Hagrid was there when, I don't know what this was. Okay, Hagrid was there when Harry was at the Dursleys. He picked Harry up from the Dursleys and literally brought him into the wizarding world and showed him Diagon Alley and told him the most key important things that Harry needed to know about being a wizard. And Harry never had that in his life. He grew up with muggles his entire life until he was 11, and then Hagrid took him out of this terrible situation that he was living in and brought him into this new world and his new life, and introduced him to the world that his parents were from and told him about his parents. And I think that that's so important because Harry never had that. And honestly, Sirius was obviously Harry's godfather, and he was a fatherly figure. But in a way, I really do think that Hagrid was more of a fatherly figure than Sirius was, because of the evidence and the fact that Hagrid was there at Hogwarts with Harry. He showed Harry everything. He fed Harry. When Harry needed to go down, even though Harry didn't like the rock cakes or whatever, he did all those things, and I think that that's really important. Even though Sirius couldn't, and when Sirius was given the chance, he obviously did. I think that it's kind of I don't know what other word, for lack of better words, a cool like theory that Hagrid was more of a fatherly figure than Sirius was to Harry. And I think that Harry definitely was lucky to have Hagrid, and that makes me really happy because Hagrid, another thing, J.K. Rowling said that the main key, I find this really interesting, the main key that was keeping Hagrid alive throughout the series was this image in her head of Hagrid taking Harry out of the forest, carrying Harry's dead body out of the forest back into the wizarding world, just like he brought Harry into the wizarding world. And I think that that is so cool, and I love talking about that theory. So that was number 1. What do you guys think about that? Let me know. Okay, this next theory is a bit, not theory, it's more of, I don't know what it is, but anyways, it's a bit sad, and spoilers, obviously, this whole video is spoilers, but this one is a big one. And that it had to be Fred instead of George who died. And I personally, it's such a touchy subject, but I didn't realize this until my friends were like, yeah, like, you didn't know that? Because look at it. Fred is the most, not the most, but obviously the twins are both comical and everything, but Fred is the funnier of the two, or the funniest of the two, grammar. And Fred's the one who always has the wittiest lines and is always the most sarcastic. And George is, from what I see of it, George is the sweeter one of the two, and he's the one who, I don't know, you can honestly, they're both really like, obviously, but you can honestly tell like the difference between them. So this whole, if you reread the books, the entire time you can tell that it has to be Fred, because the way that J.K. Rowling created Fred and that she developed on him, for him to be that one that has the most, not life, because obviously they both have life, but anyways, if you reread them, and if you notice those little points, you can tell that, yeah, it kind of did have to be Fred that was the twin that was going to be killed, because he's the one that has the most, not the most lines in the book, but honestly, like, more of the lines are Fred's than George's. And that's a sad thing, but yeah, like, that's the thing, that it had to be Fred instead of George. And now, like, that I've reread words, that I reread the book so many times, I see that it had to be Fred instead of George. So I know it's sad, but that's another one. Okay, the next thing that I wrote down was the 13 Rises, and that's all I wrote. So in The Prisoner of Azkaban, the third book, when they're at dinner with Dumbledore, you know what? I'm gonna get the book and then I'll like read it. Okay, so of course I can find every single copy of each Harry Potter that I own, which is like 2 of each, at least 2 of each, except for The Prisoner of Azkaban, which happens to be the one book out of the 7 Harry Potter books that I only own 1 copy of, and I can't find it. So my friend, because I think I told you guys, I'm sorry, I just shook the camera. I think I told you guys, I texted each of my friends and I was like, what's your favorite theory or idea? I'm gonna record a video and I want to talk about it. So my friend went online and she found hers and she sent it to me. So I'm really out of breath, I'm sorry. So, okay, here it is. It was on Twitter from the page called Horry Pooter. Yeah. And it was from Tumblr called one word pocket-sized - profit. Okay, so it says, in The Prisoner of Azkaban, at the Christmas party, there's only 12 people around the dinner table. And I'm not reading this like word for word, but there's 12 people around the dinner table, and Trelawney comes along, and Dumbledore stands up to draw the chair, and she says, I can't sit here, there's 12, and when 13 people dine together, the first to rise is the first to die. The first to rise is the first to die. Okay, there's 12 people at the table when Trelawney comes, and she says, I can't sit down, there's 12 people, and the first to rise is the first to die when 13 people dine at a table. So Dumbledore stands up and says, it's okay, we'll live. Or whatever. You know what happens if you've read that part. But those words, but Scabbers is in Ron's pocket. So there were 13 people, and Dumbledore was the first to rise. And that part always gets me because J.K. Rowling is a freaking genius that she like puts these little parts, because I would have never figured that out. Never. And that's like mind-blowing. So that happened, and I love talking about that because it's crazy. And there was one at the end, I can't remember it, but it was in the Deathly Hallows when, I remember it, they're sitting around right after Mad Eye died, and they say, we need to get up and go find his body, and Remus stands up first. I'm almost positive that's it, but Remus stands up first. There's 13 of them, and he stands up. Yeah, that was really sad. But yeah, I love talking about that one. This next one is like my all-time favorite thing to talk about, and I'm gonna try not to get excited, but it's the fact that J.K. Rowling, my queen, almost put Dudley in at the end of this Harry Potter series at the epilogue, the 19 years later. And what she had said in an interview is that she was going to put him in with a magical child. Dudley taking his magical child to King's Cross and Harry seeing him. And that gets me every single time because, first of all, I think that that's. Just shook the camera again, I'm sorry. First of all, I think that that's genius because, like, Dudley grows up his entire life with his awkward hand. Not with his awkward hand, my awkward hand. Dudley grows up his entire life with parents who hate anything that's abnormal. And then he finds the love of his life, and he has a magical child, and he accepts his child, and he takes him or her to King's Cross. And I think that's so brilliant. And I don't normally question J.K. Rowling because I know she has a reason for everything, but I truthfully don't see the reason for not putting that in the book. I don't. And so in my mind, and in my friends' minds, we just think that that happened, and that Harry and Dudley made eye contact and everything is grand. But yeah, there is one thing that I read that was a fact that says Dudley and Harry get together every now and then, and I think it's like, it was every month or something, and let their kids play together, and they just sit in silence watching their kids, and I think that is super sweet. I don't know if that's true or not, but I read it somewhere, and I really like that, and I think it's really sweet. Okay, my last topic of discussion isn't really a theory or an idea or anything like that. It's kind of just a fact, and it's Minerva McGonagall's backstory and how she was in love with a muggle, and I can't remember it exactly. If you know, comment below, and I might just research it after I film this, but it's that she was in love with a muggle, and she had this J.K. Rowling had this entire backstory written for her. What's going on with my hair? She had this entire backstory written for her, and then it just didn't come up in the story, so I'm pretty positive, that she put it on Pottermore. If you know, I don't know why I'm going like this. If you know, then leave it in a comment below because I'd love to know, and I think that that's really interesting. It's so fascinating to me that J.K. Rowling has backstories and spent so much time developing this world and everything, and that she has like a backstory for Minerva McGonagall. Like, I find that so fascinating, and I'd like to talk about it with you guys. Yeah, I know I said that that was my last one, but I have one more, not two, one. And this one is really interesting to me, and I think I might have read it before, but I saw it like 5 times today. And my friend, first of all, I saw it on Pinterest, and then my friend, when I asked him what his favorite like theory was, he said this to me. And that the Dursleys, okay, this is like the topic of it, that the Dursleys really did love Harry, but they were living with a Horcrux, and we all know what a Horcrux does to people. It makes you hateful and just terrible. But I don't know how I feel about this, because I really do think that the Dursleys just didn't like Harry because of Harry's family and because of his abnormality. That's not a word. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. I haven't been in school for like a week. It's fall break. Anyways, his magicalness and his weirdness and all of that, and for him not being normal. But I find this theory really interesting because what if they really didn't like Harry because I just got another idea for a topic. Okay, I need to stop. Okay, anyways, what if they really didn't like Harry because of him being a Horcrux and of them living with a Horcrux for 11 years straight, and then in the summertime? And I don't know, what do you guys think? I think that that's really interesting, and I'd like to see if that is like true or not. I don't know why I'm getting ready to use quotations, but it happens. I'd like to see if that. I'd like to see more stuff expanded on that. So that is one of the topics, and since I just thought of one more, I'm gonna do it. Okay, I don't know where I've seen this, and it just popped into my head, and it's that Voldemort's last Horcrux, the last piece of his soul that he was going to put in a Horcrux, latched onto the only thing in the house, which happened to be Harry, when Voldemort cast the killing curse that killed him and that put the scar on Harry's head. And that his last piece of his soul latched onto Harry. And that's what made Harry a Horcrux, right? But I read somewhere that Lily and James had a cat in the house. And so it was like, what happened to that cat? And then it was like, there's a Horcrux still out there. So I don't know. I don't know, like, did they really have a cat or anything? I don't know. Maybe the cat died in the explosion. I'd like to see if that's, like, actually true. Maybe there's still a Horcrux out there. So another one was something that my friend said, and I've never thought about this. She said it's more of a headcanon. I'm just going to read her text off my phone. She said, but it's that today the Muggleborns are all asking for the Wi-Fi password when they get to Hogwarts, and all the kids who grew up with wizard parents have no idea what they're talking about. And she said, I don't know why, but someone said that once, and the image is just stuck in my head. So there's an image to put in your head. And I found that one really interesting because honestly, in this society and in this generation, social media and the internet and the interwebs really not controls, but it's a huge part of our society. And think about just Muggleborns who grew up with the internet going to Hogwarts and not having any of that. I mean, obviously, I would find magic way more interesting, but those Muggleborns who have grown up with internet, I don't know, what do you guys think they would think of that? It's fact time! Okay, while I was looking for all of these theories and fun things to talk about with you guys to do with Harry Potter, I just got really excited. I found some facts that I'd like to talk about. First of all, it's not really a fact, but as I say, I'm going to talk about some facts. It's not really a fact, but I was asking one of my friends what her favorite theory thing was, and she said that when Umbridge was working at Hogwarts or whatever, thank goodness she's not anymore, she turned her whole office pink, and she said that I'm getting so confused. I always get confused when I talk in my videos. I'm so sorry. But it said that she didn't turn her office back to pink, and that Snape had to go in that office after. So just imagine. Ready? I'm putting this into your head. Imagine Snape's face when he goes into that office and it's pink and he has to work in there. I mean, obviously you turn it back, but just imagine the hate on his face. It's great. Okay, now I'm going to read this one off my phone. I found it on BuzzFeed.com. It says, Bill and Fleur's first child, correct me if I'm saying it wrong, but Victoire, was born on the anniversary of the Battle of Hogwarts. And Victoire is French, and it means victory. Just let that sink in your head. I find that super interesting. Okay, this other one, we all know, but it says Luna Lovegood married Rolf Scamander. I might be saying that wrong. The grandson of naturalist Newt Scamander. Scamander, yeah. They had 2 children, 2 boys named Lorcan and Lysander. I honestly might be saying these names wrong. Just correct me if you want, or just leave it. Let me keep saying them. I don't care. Well, I care, but you know what I mean. Anyways, so the new movie coming out, Magical Beasts and Where to Find Them, the main character is Newt. And Luna married the the grandson. Oh, the grandson. Even more cool. Not the great-grandson. The grandson. And I find that really interesting. Cho Chang married a Muggle. Okay guys, I had a lot of fun making this video and I hope you all had fun watching it. And thank you for watching and subscribing. I think it's 66 of you. That's amazing. So if you want, you can subscribe and I'll be posting more videos like this, and yeah, you can stay tuned. And I know I said this like 5 times, but if you want, you can leave comments below and we can talk about Harry Potter, because you know You already know I love any chance I get to talk about Harry Potter that's not talking to a camera, even though that's fun too. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great week, and I hope you all keep smiling. Bye, guys.